I read Batman Zero Year, currently reading Batman Scott Snyder Omnibus Volume 1. I want to talk about it. I want to get into it. I want you guys to come along with me and chat about it. This is part 3 in my series, so if you haven't gone back to see Death of the Family, Court of Owls, go back, watch those, come back here, and we will continue our spoiler-filled discussion. You had warning, spoiler conversation. Unscripted, just chatting away, whatever comes out. So if you're ready, let's talk about it. Zero Year is the third major arc in this omnibus. And starting right off into the story, you got Batman looking all disheveled, sleeves torn off. He's got a motorcycle. The whole city looks kind of beat up. And there's some kid that's like, hey, been looking for you. And Batman's kind of pulling the John Wick. Well, everybody keeps asking me if I'm back. Well, I'm thinking I'm back. It's not what he said, but that's the vibe I got. And then next page is like a year ago or some shit like that. So time jumps normally give me a little pause, but I'm like, okay. See what's happening, see where this goes, and then it's a time jump into the past. Time jumps, a little risky, not always a huge fan, but I'm like, okay, let's see what happens. Not a big deal, no need to get worried yet. And the Red Hood gang is like robbing a bank or some shit like that, and Batman's dressed up as one of them. And then I'm realizing, oh, okay, this is Batman early days. Origin story. Okay, well, this is New 52. This is kind of what it was supposed to be doing. It's supposed to be rebooting everything, so it's supposed to have a slightly different origin than what we're used to for Batman. Okay, calm the fuck down, Ryan. Chill. Let's just read and see where it goes. And then from here, we kind of go into a slow progression uphill. You get a lot of the fumbling Batman because we're early in Batman's career. Still good. It's not super exciting. But, you know, the stories are fine. I'm enjoying it. I get little pieces of wows here and there. You know, they introduced that he has an uncle in this version, and Unc has been running the company while he's been gone on his adventures around the world, slowly figuring out who he is. We all know the story of Batman. So I guess really kind of the stuff in this earlier part of Zero Year that I didn't love is all the relearning Bruce again stories, especially a character like Batman when we've seen his beginnings 1,000,001 times. But Scott Snyder, as he does, he didn't disappoint. This was, again, a little bit of a slower start compared to Death in the Family of Court of Owls. It didn't grab me right away like those ones did. There's a lot of back and forth between Batman and the Red Hood gang, which was fine. You know, he keeps getting his ass kicked, which, throughout this whole thing, by the way, Snyder loves Batman getting his ass kicked. It's a repeatable plot through this whole thing, for sure. But what I really started to pick up on and notice, and what I really liked, was for Zero Year, he was really sprinkling in a lot more of stronger emotions and feelings, especially because of his early years. So Batman is figuring himself out. He's trying to decide who his friends are. He basically just thinks everyone is his enemies. So his relationship with Alfred is a little rough around the edges. They're not the tight-knit group that they are now, or that they would become. Alfred keeps trying to drop some knowledge on him, and Bruce just keeps kind of not listening and smacking away. I'm sitting there reading it like, dude, listen to this fucking guy. He's trying to help you out here. But he's Batman. He's stubborn. He's always stubborn. That's the way it is. That's fine. We love him for it. But then the other relationship is that they're building is between him and Jim Gordon. So in this version of the story, he really doesn't like Jim Gordon because when he was a kid, you know, he saw Gordon taking what looked like some bribes from some people, and he basically just thinks he's a crooked cop like the rest of them. So Bruce is kind of having this father-son headbutting kind of dynamic with Alfred. And I don't know, we'll call it a uncle son I hate you relationship with Jim Gordon. And these are like the first two major things that were really getting me interested, getting me engaged in the story. At first I was more just kind of annoyed at Bruce as an outsider looking into the story, but as Snyder kept going in with these plot points of these relationships, it just kept kind of growing and evolving and getting more interesting and more interesting. And then we're throwing the Riddler into the mix as the overarching big bad of the story. He's controlling, you know, the Red Hood gang from behind the scenes. He's essentially controlling everybody, and you know, he's Riddler. He's super smart. He's doing what he does. He's dropping his riddle bombs all over the place. I guess even he's kind of discovering exactly how big of a crooked piece of shit he really is, and the world doesn't know how smart he actually is yet, so they're building him. And I must say, the route they chose to go with Riddler in this one is super sadistic. This was a true, I don't give a fuck what happens to you, Riddler. Whoever dies, dies. And it's never chaos with him. It's always intentional. Always has a plan. He's always sticking to his plan. And he's always one step ahead. Again, another thing that happens in all these books. There's always somebody that's one step ahead of Batman. But I guess it's kind of what you got to do. Otherwise, Batman is just always going to win. You got to make him an underdog somehow. Everybody loves an underdog story. What was something that I didn't super love at first that I actually also started to enjoy later was there's like backstories to a lot of these that were always just a few pages of where Bruce has been honing his skills around the world over the last few years. So like one that really stands out to me is he was, I guess, really testing his mettle as a warrior, and he's just in a battle royale fighting guys one by one by one by one to the point where nobody even wanted to fight him. He's like about to pass out, dead tired, but his sheer will keeps going forward and just keeps beating the shit out of everybody to where they're all just scared of him, and he's basically a demon and nobody wants to fight this guy. But yeah, all those little backstories, they all kind of added together nicely to paint this picture of what Bruce has been doing and why he's become such a badass that nobody in Gotham, even Alfred, doesn't quite understand yet. But yeah, Zero Year so far, again, started off kind of slow, and I wasn't sure how I felt about it, but it just kind of kept building, kept building, kept building. These relationships kept getting more interesting, to where I noticed that I had forgotten about the slow start, and I was actually more lost in the relationships and the story, and had the realization of, oh shit, Zero Year is like a sleeper story. I didn't even notice how much I was actually enjoying it because it didn't have that impact. Like Death of the Family was just like shock and awe and wow. It was just this gradual pull you in. Zero Year, you know, this whole omnibus is a big topic of conversation for most people and is on a top 5 list, short list for most people. But Zero Year doesn't get talked about as much as Court of Owls does and so on. And I'm not sure if also because it was a slower start, but when you really pay attention to this building that he's doing, it was really unique and special experience. It felt more like a movie, kind of or a trilogy, like Dark Knight trilogy, kind of that Batman Begins to Dark Knight Rises. That's kind of what Zero Year felt like, just kind of going up. And then, of course, we get to the point of the story where everything ties together. Bruce goes into a coma and then wakes up, I think it was 6 months later or something like that. And then we're now at current time, essentially. All of Riddler's plotting is finally taken over Gotham, basically destroyed the whole thing. Which I'm now realizing for the first time that the Batman movie definitely got a lot of the Riddler storylines from Zero Year. Like, he blew up the retaining walls and flooded the city, all that stuff. So I never knew that. New for me? Is that new for you? Did you see the similarities between the Batman and Zero Year? Let me know. Comments. Let's chat. While we're talking about it, if you want to like and subscribe while you're at it, that would be so great. This is a comic community, and ideally we're slowly becoming friends. The more you like my stuff, the more it helps me make more stuff. The more it helps me know that you're even watching this and that it's enjoyable. But anywho, so now we're in a situation where Batman can't get the job done by himself to save the city. He's now starting to realize that Alfred this whole time, what he's been telling him, that he needs others for support and to lean and let people in. So he's slowly starting to do. He's starting to trust Jim Gordon, starting to work with Gordon and build the relationship there. And they're trying to take back the city from Riddler. And this is where the whole thing just like basically turns into Die Hard Explosions version of this movie. And it was some good stuff, man. I especially love the scenes where Batman is having to solve riddles and basically a solve it or die situation. And I don't know if it's just me, but for whatever reason, as he's doing that, all I can picture is Val Kilmer and Jim Carrey. He's doing the blind as a bat riddle at the end of the movie. That's probably just me, but that was making me think of. But it was just good. There was like the suspense building throughout the whole thing, and excitement, anticipation. And then, of course, it's Batman. Every Batman story, he wins, saves the city, fireworks, parades, everybody's happy. We got a bat signal now. He has really now become Batman by the end of Zero Year. He's got the relationship with Jim. He's tight with Alfred now. He's got a plan moving forward into the New 52 from here on out. What a surprise story. I really, really liked it. It's my third favorite out of the three stories, but by no means does that diminish it. It's when you're, amazing, incredible, and fantastic, all three things together. Like, no real complaints. Like, this was great. But you have to give it a chance and get past the slow start, and I promise you, you will love it by the end of it. But those are my thoughts, my feelings, peanuts rolling around in this little head of mine. So please share your thoughts and feelings. Did you enjoy Zero Year as much as me? Of Court of Owls, Zero Year, and Death of the Family, which one is your favorite? What's the order you would put them in? Let's talk about it in the comments. You can find me on Instagram, TikTok, Threads, Reddit, all over the place. If there's a platform, I'm probably on it. Like my shirt? It's not Batman, but it's cool. Why are you still here, guys? Go away. I'm done. It's over. Alright, fine. I'll just turn the camera off.